Welcome to the Deck's Hole Inn and Tavern. Pay no attention to the other patrons. You are here for a higher purpose. Instead, focus on my voice. My name is Gildwel, and I'm enchanted to make your acquaintance. The silence is cold, so let my tale warm you on this winter night. And of course, you should like and subscribe for more stories like this one. The Spy and the Hound by H.P. Gildwel. Chapter 1. Arrival. The emerald sea was smooth as glass, and the Winterfin mists clung to the water in fear they might glimpse the starlight above, or, gods forbid, the sunlight. Defiant cliffs climbed in the distance, dragged down by an oppressive cloak of fog. The vapor tolerated the full moon while it fled over the horizon, and a glimmer of blue sky waited impatiently to strike down the cotton-covered world. A smuggler's skiff silently pawed at the water, while its mists hid her cargo from unwelcome eyes. A horse, a hound, and 2 men separated by the animals rode nervously into the island. The gentle grind of the sandbar shushed the boat as she snuck ashore. A muscular man with a scar above one eyebrow stepped onto the shore. Black coat, black shirt, black trousers, and black boots. Even his scar, tattooed black and hidden in his straight black hair. His unique style stood out, but he didn't. He was the everyman. A polite merchant, or a noble's useless 4th son. Arrival. The most dangerous part of infiltration. Sir Cerro Qualms was well aware of the risk, and justifiably alert. His cold, gray eyes searched for threats, then witnesses. The shore of the most dangerous country in the world waited for him. Satisfied that 1,000 wizards would not burn him into ashes, he pulled his horse out by the reins. Biscuit was a good mare, and she'd fetch a fair price on the island. First, to carry his burdens to town, then find a new life as a farmhand. Next, a massive hound hopped out of the shallow vessel. On their journey, she'd been the only one able to move with impunity. Lovel's thick mane bristled over hard muscle, wound tight and ready to snap. She was built of bloodthirst and fury, her only leash an unbreakable loyalty to her master. Altova could crush through armor and bone in the same bite. Cerro surveyed the cliff of his ascent. The name of this cliff escaped him this early, nor did he care to wring the memory from his tired mind. It looked flat enough from this far away. Exhaustion would only weigh down the ropes he'd lifted the horse with. The last passenger's departure set the ship adrift, but its pilot, Stephen, rebeached her quickly enough. His wool longcoat had dipweed stains on the breast where he'd missed. Vile juice squirted into the sea and narrowly missed his long, oily black braid. He planted his oar through the surf into the sand and retrieved a small dish from his pocket to replenish his dipped lip. "I'll take my gold then, sir. I've gotten you here, and that was the deal," he said with a rounded cheek and stained teeth. The man only ever smuggled essentials like rum and food. This was his first living cargo, not that he could complain. He kept his bulbous nose clean, so the law had always had bigger fish to catch. Cerro shared a long, hard look with his hound. The smuggler had done right by him, and little wrong. Terrible luck, really. "Remind me the amount," he asked while he avoided the smuggler's gaze. His black leather glove contorted an odd signal, which only Lovel could see. 50 gold! Was all that Stephen could get out before the Altoa tackled him. Her yellowed teeth reached for his neck. Stephen fed her his arm instead, then screamed when she crunched it in 2. Lovel swallowed the appetizer, then tore out his throat and silenced him. The only sounds he made, soft schlacks punctuated by the impotent crunch of defeated bone. Cerro turned further away from the brutality. He'd seen it before, and likely again. But he could never escape that moist sound of meat in her maw, even when he slept. While she ate her fill of the dead man, the spy stole a shovel from the boat and dug a shallow grave. An amateur would dump the body in the sea, but that left a trail. Besides, it was the will of Helios that men be buried with their eyes high. Lovel whined disappointment when her prey was buried. She picked the thighs clean and peeled a fair amount of the smuggler's calf away. Before he hid the body, the spook glanced over the man for anything useful. In the shredded clothing, dipweed can and meager coinage still held value, and the man collected them. Cerro couldn't sail, but the skiff provided a last resort to drift away and hope for hapless rescue. With Biscuit's help, the spook managed to drag the boat out of the water. After rinsing the blood out, of course. After a distance, the cliff hooked toward him and revealed an opening. Spook and Horse dragged the boat into the cave instead. The cave was not on his map, but the spy could fix that. He unfurled the scrap of leather he'd made and squinted at it in the dim twilight. Then made a small cut with his knife, invisible to most and excused his rough handling. It showed a patch of shore on the mainland and the outline of this island. Ryla stood alone in the northern sea, a waypoint between Selvmir and Nabanan. It had 2 main ports where its rivers had cut through the cliffs, but there were 3 rivers and only 2 ports. Sero had hoped the 3rd river had cut a yet undiscovered landing, and it seemed he'd been correct. If it came to it, an army from his own kingdom of Windstrom could counterattack. The cave wrapped around the inside of this cliff, hidden from the sea's view. No wonder the map rights had missed it. As the sun rose, however, he saw that the cave reached upward. A cathedral of stalagmites shimmered in their climb towards the cavern roof. Mist coiled down a set of limestone switchbacks, a cloud river 3 men wide. Wide enough for a supply wagon and a horse. Sero dropped his knife in shock. Far above him, dawnlight cut through the misty flow. Helios light from the heavens. The whistling wind of the cave's maw might as well have been a chorus. He turned to Lovale and said, "Island of Wizards, right? Must be an illusion." The clever hound shook her head and bounded up the first switchback. She climbed a fair way before she returned to him and play-bowed. She waggled her stump of a tail. Convenience in nature made Sero wary. Wizards were capable of many feats, but this stumped him. A secret port for a navy long abandoned? A pirate's cove? What could have possessed them to build and abandon a port like this? It was best not to linger, in case it was still in use somehow. The spy shrugged and told his hound, Richard would be ecstatic to hear about this. An army's road into the most unassailable nation in the world. But we have another mission. Maybe we'll find a sailor and turn around. The horse and hound were freshly rested, but Sero had been awake for days. He trudged up the switchbacks, his legs burned with effort, and his eyes demanded slumber. He tied a feed bag to Biscuit, emptied his water skin into a bowl, and collapsed near the mountain. The view of the woods could wait for him. His exhaustion was a consequence of sound strategic decision, but everything had a price. Lovale would guard him. Biscuit would remain nearby. I don't have any human friends, do I? The last thought before sleep claimed him. I grow weary, but I look forward to our next meeting. If you want more stories in Elvicar, consider the Drunk Wizard Chronicles on All Things Amazon. Check the description or point your phone at the QR code on the screen to find one of my books. Like and subscribe for more, and thank you for listening. Till next we meet.